So the casting of Frank Stone is just 4 weeks away, exactly on the day I post this video anyway, which means it's time to answer the question, should we be buying the Deluxe Edition? Now, there's not a huge amount of difference between these. As you can see, in the basic edition, we've got a Murder Mill t-shirt for all survivors in Dead by Daylight. We got a badge and banner to prove that we own the casting of Frank Stone, and blood points. No matter which version we get the editing bay, we get the Plunderer's Instinct right away, rather than on a second playthrough, which is when those things normally unlock. I don't see myself using an editing bay on my first trip through the game, but I'll definitely use Plunderer's Instinct. I'm absolutely going to be scrounging for every collectible I could find. The real question is, are the costumes going to be worth it? Now, there's 9 costumes to talk about here. The 8th are going to be in the casting of Frank Stone, and the mask that's going to be in Dead by Daylight. So let's start off by looking at this Dead by Daylight Frank Stone mask for the Trapper, Evan McMillan. I'm not going to lie, I like the look of it. Obviously, it's not as impressive as the Frank Stone version of it, because Dead by Daylight does not look as good as the game The Casting of Frank Stone, but it's got all of the details we want to see, the cracked metal, the crude welding, the busted visor, those horrific fangs that seem to come from nowhere. Were I to ever play as Evan McMillan, I would absolutely wear this mask, so it's leaning me in that direction. That said, is it just me, or should there be a little bit more blood on it? Like, it's Frank Stone. He famously bit some people's fingers off, in my mind. I still have no confirmation that that happens. But as we can see here, there's blood kind of caked all over the mask, and it's very disturbing in this close-up image of him. So, while we're used to seeing the mask in the lighting of a furnace room, so bathed in red and gold light, seeing it here with the moonlight of Dead by Daylight necessarily makes it look less impressive. I just wish Evan McMillan's Maury featured his face so we could see what the character looked like in action when wearing the mask. I mean, that said, it's a good costume piece, and the fact that they're doing just a mask for Evan McMillan rather than a total conversion that turns him into Frank Stone the way he can turn into Naughty Bear really does suggest that there is going to be a monster-fied version of Frank Stone showing up in the full game at some point, and that's who's going to be a playable killer in the game, Dead by Daylight, this, November, December. Maybe for Halloween, we'll see. I'd have to take another look at the roadmap, which I'm 100% not willing to do. So yeah, just this costume alone, it does reinforce the prediction people are making that we're gonna see Frank Stone in the prologue. The prologue is going to end not with Frank Stone dying, but Frank Stone disappearing into the fog. And then in the middle section, or perhaps in the ending section, we're going to have him come back out of the fog as a horrific monster version of himself who has been changed by the entity. Is he going to have, entity arms? He's already got pincer mouths on the mask, so don't be shocked if he becomes a hideous spider creature of some kind, or at least an alien thing with monstrous mandibles. Hey, did you know that Dead by Daylight has been out for 8 years, and Evan McMillan's bio still has a typo in it? Come on, guys. He was literally the first killer. He was on the game box when people bought this in stores, and his bio has a typo in it. You have had 8 years to fix it. More importantly, though, let's look at the playable character costumes. Here's the 5 costumes we've seen all lined up. You've got Punk, New Romantics version of Jaime. You've got the older woman, who I assume is older Bonnie, wearing a scarf on her head, buttoned-up shirt, purple jacket. This and Jacket Lady's outfits really feel like references to something. Christine's outfit absolutely baffles me. Then we've got Sam wearing an altered policeman's uniform, which seems to be Dracula themed. He's got a red silk interior, of the entire jacket, along with a medallion around his neck. It is a bold look that I am very much here for. I will say they are very good-looking outfits. There's a huge amount of detail. Each one of them is extremely distinctive. It's nice to see Jaime gothing out the way his sister does in the main game. But the question is, who gets the 8th alternate costume? Based on the fact that they seem to be playable characters, I'm going to assume that 2 more costumes are going to be assigned to Linda and Robert. Although we've actually already seen Robert in 2 different outfits in the game. But the question becomes, who gets the 8th outfit? That's 7 accounted for. Is it one of these 4 people in the future? Or is it Bonnie back when they're making the movie? Obviously, there's no way to make a good prediction on this. I'm guessing it's Bonnie when they're making the movie? Because you assume that only playable characters are going to be getting alternate outfits, which suggests that Jacket Lady and maybe older Bonnie would both be playable in the future, which we've already seen evidence of because we've seen Jacket Lady walking around the mansion and examining things, and we've seen possibly older Bonnie picking up and interacting with items in the supermassive style. So is it going to be 1 playable character in the prologue, 5 playable characters in the main story in the 1980s, 2 playable characters at the ending? I call it the ending, it might be the framing device. In the spooky Dead by Daylight mansion. That brings us up to 8 playable characters, which would account for all 8 costumes. I'm guessing that's what we're going to do, but I would like just a little bit of confirmation. So let's get back to the big question. Should you buy it? Here's the thing. It comes down to how much these looks mean to you. Yeah, just as a fan, I would say buy it just to support them. But that said, you're going to be able to get the costumes and do that supporting them whenever. As long as you get the main game, you're supporting them. So you shouldn't feel pressure to get the deluxe edition. Now, presumably, you will miss out on some of the launch bonuses like unlocking stuff right away if you don't get it immediately. But you should be able to get these costumes as bonus DLC later. The same way right now we can just buy all of the costumes for the quarry. That said, the Frank Stone mask for the Trapper might be limited time because Dead by Daylight likes to pull that kind of thing. At the end of the day, though, I think the costumes look badass, and not only am I going to be buying a deluxe edition for myself, I've already committed to buying a copy of the game for somebody who won a contest based on one of my earlier videos, and I'm going to be sure to get the deluxe edition for them as well, which I probably should have told them about before announcing it here. Well, they know I'm getting them the game. Anyway, before we go, let's address one really interesting thing. The real-time reflections going on in a possibly older Bonnie's glasses. That's just kind of an amazing piece of technology, because in her glasses, not only can see the edge of the back of Jacket Lady's head, we can see the rest of the room she's in, which includes more shelves full of film canisters and this multi-window door that makes it look like this is a storage unit of some kind. And that's one of those roll-up garage door type things they have. So yeah, will there be fully reflective surfaces in the actual game? Or is this just a promotional image and they've done some fancy stuff? Because if they can pull off fully reflective images in games, quote-unquote, easily now, that's going to be something special. For now, though, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, there's buttons coming up to help with that. Questions, comments, statements about whether you're going to be buying the deluxe edition or not, go in the comments section below the video. Play my game, Clown in the Woods, because it's good and free and available now. We'll see you back here for more Frank Stone as information allows, but until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.